How are you doing? Donald O. Hebb, a professor of psychology at Montreal McGill University in Canada, set out to study and make a psychological experiment on how sensory isolation affected human cognition in 1951. The aim of this psychological experiment is to reveal the characteristic of psychological tendency of prisoners with a feeling of despair and disorientation and hallucination and isolation. So in other words, this is endurance test to inspect how people can keep enduring the feeling of isolation under stress-free environments. So initially this experiment was planned to be conducted for 6 weeks to research subject behavior and mental state, but many subjects were mentally broken for just 2 days or so. So prior to making this psychological experiments, the given condition to subjects was like staying in very small room with very small bed for 6 weeks. And during this experiments, subject needed to keep wearing goggles that block their sights and earphone with white noise from loudspeaker. So subjects were guaranteed food and shower as well every day. And Donald O. Hebb offered male graduate students as subject $20 a day to stay in small chambers containing a little more than a bed. And they were given food by human beings. And also when they needed to use a washrooms or something, they would be escorted by other human beings. So they weren't completely alone in the room. So they wore goggles and earphones, and there was some sort of noise and white noise from a loudspeaker. So Hebb had repeatedly hoped to observe his subject for 6 weeks. As it turned out, the majority lasted no more than a few days in isolation and no more than a week. So depriving a man of sensory input, he soon discovered, will break him in a matter of days. So what I'm really surprised with this psychological experiment is that if people spend time in stress-free environment under the condition that they are restricted from sensory input, the time that people can maintain normal mental state is less than a week, right? So appropriate stress and mental burden always gives us a driving force to spend days with vitality. And there's so many people who really hope for the lifestyle with no stress from outside, but environment where there is no feeling of a tension on you doesn't take long to make you go crazy mentally and make you difficult to revive back to the social community. So far from not being appropriate for personality building, a stress-free environment has a certain risk to corner people to depression with huge anxiety on self-confidence and own identity.